Continuing on from my last video, I'm counting down some of my favorite games from 2023, genre by genre this week. It's time to get into roguelikes, one of the most popular genres around. I mean, God of War even just got a roguelike mode for Ragnarok. That is crazy! Anyway, in order, these are my top 10 roguelikes of 2023. Risk of Rain Returns is a remaster of a classic roguelike, improving on graphics slightly and offering you more ways to customize your experience. It's gameplay first, without a story anywhere virtually to speak of. You can choose one of the two heroes at the start, who have loadouts that also unlock through challenges completed in the game. Also, new heroes can be unlocked this way too. Except for heroes and loadouts, there are not a lot of ways to carry over progress between runs. You level up and get various items and skills in your run. When you die, everything resets. It has co-op, which is the ideal way to play, as it makes things easier. While a challenge level may throw some off, like me, who like progression systems, I gotta say, unlocking the heroes and new loadouts was kinda fun. It's still definitely a top tier game worthy of your time, as old as it is. Since it is a re-release, I won't rank it any higher, even though it probably should outrank a number of these newer games. Death or Treat felt weird to me on a lot of levels. First, it's a 2D roguelike that looks and plays a lot like Have a Nice Death, which also came out this year. The stories are different though. You're a ghost employee at Ghost Mart who lost his business in Halloween Town. After investigating, you find out Faceboo is taking all of your business, and now you have to fight to get Halloween Town back up and running to prime. There are a lot of punny jokes in here, and they all feel a bit uneven and maybe, dare I say, unnecessary. Ghost Mart, Faceboo, Joe Bite Them, Clark Fackerberg, and the list goes on. I don't know exactly what this game is trying to say with parodies like this, because it's not funny overall. Not that I didn't get the humor, I just mean it's not presented as a funny game. The jokes start and stop with the names. It's just odd, but lots of complaints aside, the gameplay is decent and it controls well, although it's a big grind to unlock permanent upgrades in the town. I may not be selling you well on this, but trust me, Death or Treat doesn't excel at anything, but that's not entirely a bad mark for it, as you kind of just have to jump in and try it out for yourself. The Last Spell is a game that I talked about earlier this year, and it's a hodgepodge of many genres beyond roguelikes, including tower defense and tactical RPGs. Your goal is to hold out long enough for this wizard to save the last bastion in the world to dispel magic and monsters everywhere. You can build armaments to fire at zombies and other creatures, fortify walls, and get a group of soldiers going to take them out manually. Once you die, that's it. There's not much that carries over. It's challenging, and perhaps a bit hard to navigate on consoles. I played on PS5, by the way, but I certainly enjoyed my time with it. Again, the blending of genres helped it stand out in my mind. MythForce is framed as a Saturday morning cartoon, and the opening movie will hammer that point home. It's great and has a nice cel-shaded look to it, and the gameplay loop is not bad either. This is a roguelike wherein you can choose to be one of 4 characters, including 2 females and 2 males. Each character has a class that comes equipped with 2 weapons. For example, Maggie's a mage that can shoot fire or switch to daggers in close combat. The best part is the multiplayer though. It may be hard to get an online game going with strangers now, since it is a bit older. It's fun alone though, but better if maybe you get some friends to buy the game along with you. As previously mentioned, Have a Nice Death stars the Grim Reaper, aka Death, who was doing relatively well in his field. Eventually, he gets burnt out of executing people, so he summons some demons to help with the workload. Unfortunately, these demons started stealing souls even from humans who were not supposed to die, thus leading to mountains upon mountains of paperwork, so Death has to go out and stop these demons. It's a typical roguelike wherein you are expected to beat it in one run. Doing so requires a lot of luck, and there aren't many ways to upgrade Death's potential permanently, although you can unlock new potentials in your runs with new weapons or skills. There are temporary boosts in levels, and new weapons get thrown in there too, just like I said. Ultimately, you gotta get good, but the animation style was compelling enough for me to, challenge myself to get deeper and deeper. Mr. Sun's Hatbox is another game I covered earlier in a video, wherein someone steals your Hatbox and you set up a whole agency within the mail system to get your Hatbox back. It's kind of a sillier version of Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker, as you can attach balloons to enemies and equipment in the field and send them back home. You can research things back at home base to make your next run better. The sim aspects were my favorite part, along with collecting everything in sight via balloons. Also, coincidentally, there is co-op to consider, like many games on this list. Trinity Fusion has an interesting idea for a roguelike. The future is doomed, and only Maya can save it by branching 3 worlds together, each being saved by a heroine. Maya can contact Altera, Kara, and Naira, who behave mostly the same, albeit with a few different traversal options. And, of course, personalities. You will go through 3 distinct biomes, getting temporary weapons and upgrades along with materials to boost stats permanently back at home base. There are also tanks and levels that can fuse these girls together, which will increase powers further. It's not as fantastical as the fusion dance in Dragon Ball Z, but it is definitely a helpful mechanic. The best part of the gameplay loop, though, are the weapons and abilities, which make combat engaging since they are so varied. The only thing I didn't enjoy fully was the art style, which was fine, but it didn't quite pop for me. Not to sound like a broken record, but I made a video for this game, 30XX, earlier this year as well. It is a fantastic blend of Mega Man X and roguelikes and vastly improves everything over the original, aka 20XX. You can play as Nina, who is designed physically and mechanically like X, while Ace is very much like Zero with a cool sword. Players can team up as the 2 of them in co-op as well. Go through levels, get power-ups, fight wild bosses, and repeat upon death, and then start the whole thing over again. There is an upgrade system in the hub area to make things easier as you go along. It's a fast, fun, and frenetic time. Dave the Diver can be as stressful or as relaxing as you want it to be for a roguelike. At first I was a bit worried I wouldn't like it because it takes a while to unlock the main loop, but here's what you have to do. As Dave, you are called in by your friend Cobra, who wants you to help run his sushi bar, along with his chef, Boncho. As Dave, you'll dive twice a day, and then at night you'll manage the restaurant in a typical food sim manner like Diner Dash. In the water, you start with a harpoon gun and knife to catch fish, which you then use to cook with. The rarer the fish, the more you'll get for that sushi roll. Money can buy tons of upgrades, like a tank that will give you more oxygen, which is basically a substitute for your HP. More weapons will unlock too, which will make catching fish a lot faster. Once I got into the new weapon system, about, I would say an hour or 2 in, the game finally clicked with me and I loved it. I'm so bummed I didn't get it until the end of the year because I would have loved to spend time with it. More time, I should say. My biggest gripe overall is the long load times on Switch. They are atrocious, especially in a roguelike where you have to go through many phases. So maybe I messed up asking for the wrong platform, but hey, as a game itself, without technical issues, it is so nice. But more so than that, Ember Knights is another game like Dave the Diver that I was mad I didn't get to go into when it launched earlier on Switch, but still, I played enough where I'm like, yes, this is it. So, you're a titular Ember Knight who has to restore the world after a void tears through it via a dark sorcerer. Blah blah blah. You can choose your flame and scarf color along with your weapon before heading out, although it takes some grinding to unlock more than your starting sword. You'll gain temporary spells and upgrades in a run, and then lose it all in death. However, there's a currency used to unlock said weapons and permanent upgrades via a literal skill tree, and I feel like you're always getting something new when you return to that hub area. The mechanics are great, but my favorite thing about the game was the graphics. The pixel art is just, ooh, so good. Oh yeah, and it has 4-player co-op, which is awesome. Ember Knights and Dave the Diver are so close, but Ember Knights just barely surpasses it as my personal favorite roguelike of the year. But again, these are all certified bangers. So, as always, thank you for watching.